Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you guys are having a good start to the summer. It's the day after Memorial Day here in South Jersey. I'm going to do a little walkthrough on the track with you guys. Try to get into the weeds with you on this one, so to speak. I guess pun intended, I should say. A lot of people have been bringing up the plants that I have growing on the track. So I was just going to kind of do a little rundown on the different plants that I use, why I use them, and how I apply them. The reason why I do this is cut down on erosion. The plants hold the dirt together and make it so that they don't wash away. And when they do wash away, it deposits sand everywhere and the track becomes a sandy mess. So, another reason is contrast. On a track this tight and technical, it's really nice to have a contrast between the different lines and have a nice defining edge around the perimeter. And then another reason is depth perception. The different colors gives me a depth perception, and yeah, so there's quite a few reasons why I do this. So next I'm going to get into the different variations of plants. Like this is what's called a string stonecrop. It's probably my favorite thing to plant on the track. You can identify it, the fleshy pink stem, the teardrop shaped petals, and the star shaped yellow flowers. This is actually in a succulent, and it's really nice. I like to use it because one, it grows in any condition: shade, sun, sand, soil, doesn't matter, it grows anywheres. But also because it not only does it not get tall, but the roots are really shallow, which is perfect because it doesn't grow real tall and flop into your track and get in the way, but it also doesn't grow real deep, and then it causes an issue with the roots expanding underground and cracking your track, or going down deep and then coming out the face of the jump. And so it makes it so that you can plant it right up to the edge of the track without having any issues, which is definitely a benefit. Next on the list here we have, it's called periwinkle. And the periwinkle, I have a little bit of it everywhere because, a lot like the stonecrop, it is shallow rooted. It can grow absolutely anywhere in any conditions. The only difference is it doesn't get really thick, which is why I don't use as much of it. But the reason why I like it, as opposed to the stonecrop, is it's an evergreen, so it stays green all year round and gives me that dark green contrast. So when everything else is all dirt colored, I have that periwinkle that stays nice and dark green. Next, probably my favorite thing on the track is the mint. You can tell the mint, it's got the serrated petals, dark green, but then mainly it's got that reddish brown stem. It's real easy to identify, especially because of the smell. It smells really good, really minty, and that stuff's really nice because not only does it have really shallow roots that send out runners that go real far, and it spreads and comes in real thick, but it is super good smelling. So when it may end up like encroaching into your track a little bit, but when you brush up against it, man, you can smell it. It smells amazing. So it's definitely a nice aroma when you have it around. Another thing that has good smell is this is called lemon balm. Lemon balm, it looks a lot like the mint, only it doesn't have the reddish brown stem, and the color's a little bit not as dark green. And this has a real lemony smell, and I also like to keep it places where I brush into it, so I get that aroma going. But it doesn't grow as shallow as the mint does, so you do have to be careful with it. It grows kind of more in bunches, a lot like this catmint. It's another herb. It's from the cat catnip family, and stuff also smells good, but it grows, you know, in bunches, kind of a little bit deeper than the mint does. But it, you know, has that nice purple flower, so I like the way it looks. Smells good, so I keep it around. These right here are violets. The violets are good ground cover. I kind of spread them out a little bit. They're real shallow rooted. The roots are non-invasive, but what those do is they give me a little bit of color spread out throughout the track, and you know, it gives me some depth perception, and you know, just gives the track a little bit more color. The next thing we'll go to here are the lilies. Some of these are roadside lilies. Some of them are commercial lilies that are cultivated. You can see the difference here, like these. You can see the fan shape. That would be the commercial lily. Those will all come up like a orange and yellow. And then these are the roadside lilies. You can see they're just kind of more not as uniformly growing, and those are just kind of wild lilies that come up a yellow. So next we have ferns. Let's go with the ferns. Ferns are really important. Ferns are another one of my favorites to grow. You got ferns here. And the ferns are really important because they have really thick root beds that hold a lot of moisture, and they are really resistant to the erosion. So what I like to do with the ferns, I have more here. I like to do with the ferns is I like to put them in places where there is a really steep incline, because that's where the most erosion is probably going to happen. So you can see I planted a lot of the ferns down here. They grow in the shade, so I can basically put them anywhere. They grow shade, sun, rock, it doesn't matter, sand. You know, it's one of those that grows anywhere. And the only issue with the ferns is they can get kind of tall and bushy and encroach into your track, so you want to keep them kind of away from the track just so they don't get, you know, flopping into your track and get in the way. What I do up closer to the track, especially on these steeper inclines, is I plant zoysia grass, which the roots are a lot like bamboo, and when it all gets rooted down, it creates this really tight knit wicker matting, basically like wicker, and it is, I mean, it's impenetrable. It's absolutely like the strongest grass in the world. So, or at least I'm saying that now, but it's really strong grass. It once it roots, I mean, you can't get rid of it. It spreads really quickly. The only issue with that is it needs a lot of sun to grow, so that's why I kind of keep it on the top side of these steep inclines, so that it can have get a lot of sun. You know, so if you're gonna put it anywhere, it needs to be in a really sunny spot. So next we'll go with these right here. These are black-eyed Susans. I have black-eyed Susans over on the other side too. It's just a normal flower. Comes up yellow with a little brown center, and that looks like a daisy. Yeah, it just adds a little bit of color. Another thing here is liriope. Liriope is kind of like the lilies in that they grow deep and they kind of get kind of bushy and kind of encroach on the track. But what's nice about the liriope is it's also an evergreen, and it will stay green all year round, and so it helps add some color to the track. And then these little guys right here, these are lily of the valley, and those just get scattered. They're the first thing that come up in the beginning of the year, so I like to keep them just to get me some color early on when nothing else has color. And then now we'll go to the flowers. Like I said, I have the black-eyed Susans. They go around that berm. There's one here. I also have gooseneck loosestrifes, which are these guys right here. You can tell the stem's kind of identifiable because it's got those little red markings. Gooseneck loosestrifes basically form a hedge along here. Behind the goosenecks, I have euonymus, which is a big bush, and that bush kind of hides the fence area. I got another euonymus here, and then I got more euonymus on the back side of here. Here's going to be like a nice hedge of phlox. The phlox look a lot like the gooseneck loosestrife, only the stems, a little different color. So I got the phlox, and then here's more of the gooseneck loosestrifes. And here's more of the gooseneck loosestrifes. I have a bunch of the goosenecks along the top here. Here's the euonymus and more lilies. So I like to have a hedge here that sticks up higher than the berm. That way it gives me a nice depth perception of contrast. Let me know where the top of the berm is when I'm flying through here. Also around the top of the berm I planted more of the Swayze grass because it's got a nice sun spot on the top. You can hold that top together real nice. If I planted the Swayze grass down here, it probably wouldn't take because it needs that lots of sun. But I could plant the liriope grass down here, because that basically will grow anywheres, and it likes the sun, but it'll grow in the shade too. So it's creates a lot of ground cover, and yeah, that is basically the whole shebang here. Hope you guys appreciated the little insight into the gardening end of it. Here's more of the black-eyed Susans. The gardening end of it is something I don't think a lot of people talk about, but it definitely plays a role in a do-it-yourself BMX track, especially one that you have to maintain yourself, because I'll tell you what, planting these plants here has saved me so much work in the long run because of the erosion that hasn't happened because of the plants. So, it really helps keep the track together, cuts down on the maintenance in the long term, and leaves a nice look, that I think can be appreciated in photos, videos, and even in person. You come out here and it's stunning, especially when everything is in full bloom. Especially when you start riding and you start brushing up against the mint, and you get all your senses going, you get the smells going, and it really gets you all immersed in the atmosphere. And I really love what I got going on back here. So hope you guys appreciated the tour and learned a little bit. And until next time, keep the shiny side up, as they say. Peace.